helicopters have been procured for me to go to golf course. Thank you.
I've never said he wasn't a great politician. I'm just saying he's a
It was supposed to be an interview.
How'd you play out there today?
Well, I found the conditions challenging, mostly because there's no grass on the golf course, but there never has been.
I'm thinking about the swag bag, and I had high hopes for the swag bag.
When you got 3 crevices on the green, your course is trashy.
What's happening, folks? Welcome back. Beltway Golfer, Episode 7. Alex Dixon here. This week we went downtown to sit down with Tari Cash, the owner and founder of CitySwing D.C. CitySwing is a golf simulation lounge event space. It's in a really cool, kind of hip and vibey location or setting that you can rent out by yourself with a group of friends. They've got golf leagues. You can host an event, a celebration. They do all sorts of different things, but it's a really cool space. Tari has an incredibly interesting background, just going to Harvard Business School, working for some really interesting people that I think you're going to be intrigued to hear about, and what brought her to DC, and why she started a golf simulation-based business in the first place. Obviously, it's an enormous growing business. We touched on it, but it's just gotten really big in the United States in the last few years. They're popping up at seemingly every golf course or golf club around. But still, she's the only game in town as far as being in DC. And she's got some big plans. Her and her team are set to grow the business and are planning to open up a much bigger location. So that's really exciting to hear about. Just recently, Tari also went on the Eric Anders Lang podcast, which I mentioned, and they spend about an hour and 45 minutes talking about what's going on in our country, especially as it pertains to race, and Tari's experience just being a black woman in the workplace and as a business owner, and her experiences, and I encourage everybody to listen to that. Since we kind of didn't touch on that because Eric and her kind of really go into that and didn't talk a lot about her actual business in that podcast. So I focused more on, Tari's background, but also, what's going on at CitySwing and the future of CitySwing and the industry in itself. I also want to say I appreciate those still bearing with me. I know the production quality, certainly on the video, but also on the audio, still could be improved. Made some investments this week to improve both of those aspects. Wish I had done it sooner, but the quality of both the audio and video is going to be dramatically improved going forward. To Tari and even to Desiree and even to Ernie Andrews. Wish I had better equipment when I'd filmed those. Regardless, it was a great conversation. I was so excited to meet Tari Cash, hear about her story, hear about the big plans her and her team have going forward. Hope everyone enjoys it, and I certainly encourage, if you haven't, to go check out CitySwing DC. It's a really cool space. Go rent the simulator for an hour, check it out. You won't regret it. Here's the show. Tari Cash, CitySwing DC. Enjoy. All right, we're here. We are at CitySwing, Beltway Golfer. Alex Dixon here with Tari Cash.
Thank you for being here.
Absolutely, it's great to be here. So we are, what is this neighborhood called? Is this Shaw?
Mount Vernon Triangle.
Mount Vernon Triangle. 5th Street?
Yep, 5th Street.
5th Street Northwest.
1055 5th Street, 5th and K.
5th and K.
Northwest.
So why don't we start from the top? So tell us, what is CitySwing?
So CitySwing is the first indoor golf facility and entertainment facility in Washington, D.C. We're really proud to have gotten to this market first. D.C. was long overdue to have an indoor golf facility. Our mission statement is to make golf fun and convenient for everyone, especially those of us that live and work in downtown D.C. I live downtown. I know the frustrations of sometimes trying to get to a golf course or getting to a golf course and having the rounds be very, very long. And so I wanted a place that just could make it easier to practice, and I needed to improve my game. I wanted those reps, and I was like, indoor golf exists. Why isn't this a thing here in DC? And after a little bit of research and understanding that in New York City there were 7 or 8 indoor golf facilities, and the popularity of it in Asia and the fact that it is coming west and becoming more popular in the United States, I said, I think there's an entrepreneurial opportunity here, so let's run fast and try to do it.
So that's interesting. So, and you opened here in DC in 2018?
Yes, July of 2018.
And so you just touched on, so New York at the time already had 8, 10 indoor golf simulator lounges, and it's huge in Asia.
Yes.
I think a lot of people have seen, there's like a statistic that was talked about a lot in Korea. I don't know what year it was, where like more golf, like simulated golf rounds were played than actual golf rounds, isn't that right?
The Business Insider did an article, and they said indoor golf in South Korea is like Starbucks. There's literally one on every corner. And that is how majority of the country play. And I actually think there's a correlation between the number of Koreans that are dominating, particularly on the LPGA, and the fact that it really is a recreational sport, entertainment. I mean, it's just something that it's part of the culture there.
Interesting. I wonder if a lot of them, the simulators have been around so much longer there as opposed to here, that maybe they're just getting more reps in. Or that's interesting. So this is also since you've opened, this is your second location.
This is our second location. Yeah, we opened at City Center in July of 2018, and then we moved over here in May of 2019 in Mount Vernon Triangle. So we call this our pop-up. I call it a beta test. So again, the business side of me was very intentional about not diving headfirst into the full concept. So the full concept for us is to have anywhere from, call it 4 to 8 simulators, full bar, and a lounge, and to truly be an indoor golf entertainment space.
Oh, wow. That's exciting.
It's exciting.
Yeah.
It's very capital intensive.
Sure.
It requires a very, very big paycheck up front. So before I did that, I wanted to make sure that we got the business fundamentals right for this. And that's why we did the smaller version. This is our proof of concept, or if we were starting an app, our beta test, to make sure that we understand the model. We've proved it now, and now we're really excited to move on.
Oh, wow. So that model might be coming sooner rather than later.
Oh yeah, we're working on it. We're working on it very aggressively right now.
That's exciting. Breaking news. I don't know. This whole model, whether it be single or 4, 6, 8, 10 simulators in a bar lounge environment, it seems to be maybe not necessarily in DC yet, but nationwide they seem to be popping up pretty rapidly.
Totally. The National Golf Foundation has a couple of statistics that they're now starting to track, and the metric is called off-course golfers. So there's about 34.2 million golf participants across the country. 9.9 million have only participate at off-course only facilities. So that's your Topgolfs, that's your driving ranges, and that's your indoor facilities. Like we all know, Topgolf is doing an incredible job of introducing new people into the game. Yeah. And so measuring off-course only participants has been an interesting metric as like a feeder into the golf industry. So it's becoming really important and widely adopted across the country.
So you've been here for opened up in 2018. The space here is really kind of hip, and you've got some really cool fixtures, wallpaper, carpeting. It's got a nice vibe in here. Yeah. It's not a bar per se yet, but this is like an event space. You rent it out for people to do parties and that sort of thing, celebrations.
We do a lot of events, a lot of corporate events, team building events, birthday parties. We've had quite a few bachelor parties here. So yeah, all different types of events. What is so amazing about indoor golf is you can have fun if you're not a good golfer and if you're a very good golfer, and you can actually have fun together.
Yeah.
So sometimes on a traditional golf course, it's hard for people at very different levels to enjoy it the same amount. If you're the not good golfer, you feel like you're slowing everybody down, and you just don't want to be that person. If you're really the good golfer and you're having a great round,
Yeah.
you know, and you're having to play extremely slow because someone is just getting started, you want to be supportive, but that can be frustrating as well. Here, we can set one person really, really far forward, and we can have another tee set very, very far back, and it's just easier for someone to pick up. You don't have the same level of frustration from slowing people down, losing balls, going into water, you know, all that trouble.
Yeah.
You can just kind of blow past.
How long does it take for the average person to play 18 in there?
Well, I would say the average person, 30, 40, well, let's say 40, 45 minutes to play a round of 18.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, the guys on my team, they can blow through. They can get
Sure.
through 18 in less than 30 minutes.
Interesting. I want to hear more about you and your background and,
Okay.
and you know, why DC.
Yeah.
For folks that are listening, you know, unless you're a family member or a close friend of mine, if you're listening to this, you're obviously really into golf, or else how would you even found this podcast? But Tari was literally just came out last week on the podcast with Eric Anders Lang. I think it's just called the Eric Anders Lang Show. I can't remember. But it was really a kind of extensive conversation on race and everything that's going on in the country. So I don't think we're going to talk much about that, because you covered that really extensively, and I encourage everyone to go check it out, because it was actually a really great conversation. But you were also, and I'm only bringing this up because I learned a lot about you know where you're from and kind of your start, and I want to talk about it. But you're also on another show recently.
Yeah, for the ladies.
For the
Abby
ladies.
started, she works for USGA, but she has an incredible organization that invites women into the game, does clinics, and is kind of like an intro course to golf. She does them around the country and has a really, really big following. So it's called For the Ladies.
And that's FORE, the ladies, right? Yeah.
Yes.
So in listening to those, I learned you're originally from New England, from Massachusetts.
Yes.
But what's wild is, so you go into, you know, your professional background is quite extensive. Some highlights though. So were you essentially opened up the Tesla location here in DC?
I did.
Which was pretty close to here, right?
It was on K and 11th. It's
Still there?
No, they
Not that.
moved over to City Center, and what is so funny is the first location for CitySwing was literally right next door to the Tesla store on H Street. So Tesla's on H and 9th, and we were the next retail space over. So funny how things come full circle.
Yeah. So you worked in some capacity with Elon Musk. That must have been pretty interesting. And then you also worked very closely with Kevin Plank, who
Yes.
folks around this area know well, since he went to University of Maryland and started his Under Armour up in Baltimore. And but you worked like really close with him, right?
Yes, I did. I wrote all Kevin's speeches. We had what was called the Office of the CEO, and we were a pretty small team, 3-4 of us, and would support Kevin in anything that he needed. It was our job to make sure the right people were at the table, the initiative got started, and what was fun about it is, you know, this is 2013 when Kevin he already did when I joined the company, but a lot of personal initiatives outside of Under Armour, as well as Under Armour was really thriving. And so we got to see all aspects of Kevin Plank's life, and he cares about entrepreneurship, he
Sure.
cares about the branding and the perception of Baltimore, and as well as he cares about Under Armour. So got to see and do a lot of great things with him.
And you also went to Harvard Business School.
I did.
And I bring all these things up because it's clear that you know what you're doing, and you've worked with some of some titans of industry and closely.
Yeah.
So it's interesting that, you know, stepping out on your own and starting your own business. You know, why golf simulation? Is it just, are you a big golfer, or you just saw an opportunity here, or what, you know, why?
You know, this is just the perfect intersection of Tari Cash, the essence of me. You know, I've always been an entrepreneur at heart. Coming out of Harvard Business School, I wanted to own car dealerships. My mom says that I'm the only person that went to Harvard to then go and sell used cars, because I went to go work for Roger Penske in different automotive dealerships, and literally sold new cars, used cars, learned how to run service centers. And so I've always been the type of person, roll up my sleeves, understand the business from the ground up, and be sort of the general manager of the business. So entrepreneurship has always been something that I've really cared about. I went from Penske Automotive Group to Tesla, from Tesla to Under Armour. So go from having this entrepreneurial spirit to then seeing some of the best entrepreneurs work in real life. So seeing Elon Musk, seeing and working with Kevin Plank. And in particular, I wrote Kevin's speeches, and a lot of his speeches touched on entrepreneurship. And so I joke and say that, I'm writing these things, and I think I'm like talking to myself, like,
right.
Yeah, like this is what you're supposed to be doing, Tari. But I didn't have the idea. The other unique thing about Tesla and some of my time at Under Armour is I was around such disruptive technology. Tesla, obviously, completely disruptive. At Under Armour, I do think that, clearly underdog, disruptive clothing, but I also worked very closely on Under Armour's Connected Fitness initiative. So this was right after or as the company purchased MapMyFitness, MyFitnessPal, and Endomondo, which was in Denmark. And those were all disruptive fitness apps, and we were aggregating them all together, and we created a connected shoe and connected, heart rate monitor. There were a lot of new wearable technologies that Under Armour was focused on at the time. So disruptive technology and then retail and entrepreneurship have always been things that I think I've been around.
Sure.
So why golf? Coming around to that, when the entrepreneur in me saw that there was a market opportunity, when I understood there are 6, 7, 8 of these in New York City and not one in DC, that's what made this really attractive. When I understood indoor golf is actually disrupting, and I actually think it is supporting the industry of golf, but it is a disruption to the traditional way that golf is played.
Sure.
Decreases the amount of time significantly, is a much less intimidating way to start. I said to myself, you know what, this is what I know. I know how to start. I know how to start this, and so that's why. And it also, like I said, I wanted to improve my golf game. So the first thing, I think it's my dad who has always told me, is if you're going to start a business, start a business that you love.
Sure.
Because on those really, really hard days when you want to give up, sometimes your love for what you're doing is the only thing that keeps you in the game.
That's it. What's also crazy is, correct me if I'm wrong, you're still the only golf simulator in Washington, D.C.
Yeah, we are.
Is that true?
We are.
Yeah.
We are. We know there's others coming,
Sure.
and so we're expecting for there to be some others here. But it's actually interesting. Kevin used to have a saying that would say a saying that said, what is it? Rising tides raises all ships and
Sure.
lowers all ships at the same time.
Yeah.
The industry of indoor golf, we all need it to come up. We all need it so that we can compete against each other and introduce it to more people, so more people are willing to participate.
Yeah, I mean, I think Topgolf is certainly a great example of that. If, I think most people when Topgolf started, you're like, okay, it's a cool idea. Maybe they'll have some success. I don't think anyone could have predicted that. I don't know how many there are just in the DC area now, but they're absolutely everywhere, and it's brought so many new people into golf.
So many.
On my last week's episode, Desiree Walker.
I did not know that.
The first time she ever picked up a club was at a Topgolf, and now she's completely obsessed.
Yeah.
When I first reached out to you, you were closed because of coronavirus. How was that?
It's been tough. It's it is certainly, I certainly didn't see it coming, and it certainly came like a tsunami very, very quickly. I mean, we were literally as a team having kind of emergency meetings every day, and the short period of time that we went from, should we send out a communication talking about our cleaning protocols and how safe CitySwing is to CitySwing is closed
Yeah.
was, I mean, it was like that.
Quick.
And so we had to shut down. We shut down on March 16th, and we just reopened a couple weeks ago. I will tell you the hardest part about all this is, well, I don't know. It's been hard every step of the way, but I thought initially it was just about getting through the closure. And since we've reopened, I realized that actually now is the hard part for small businesses.
Getting people to feel comfortable coming back.
Yeah, and I don't blame people. We have to think about I have to think about the safety of my team as well as my customers, as well as the long-term viability of the business. So on a lot of different levels, we're thinking about everybody's safety. But when I think about restaurants, when I think about any brick and mortar retail, actually the hardest part was not the shutdown. The hardest part is the phased reopening, when you have all of your expenses, but you have 20% capacity. You can operate at 25% capacity, which those numbers don't always work out. So we're fine. It is a blessing that we are small still, and we didn't have that bigger concept. I didn't know that would be a blessing at this point in time, but it has been very difficult. I want to follow that up by saying it has created a tremendous opportunity for us as well. We are now thinking about, if we were designing the business during a global pandemic, how we are, what would we do differently? And I think I can't share everything that we've come up with, because there are some things that I feel are competitive advantages that we're going to incorporate into the business, and it is going to make us much, much stronger, make you much safer, make CitySwing a more attractive brand in the future. So I think the businesses, as a small business owner, I think you got to just take the blow to the face, and then you got to pick yourself up and say, okay, now what do we do? If we got to go left, if we got to go right, we got to pivot a little bit. What does that look like, and how are we going to attack it head on, and then go in that direction, and you'll be better for it.
Interesting. So, and folks that are listening that have not been here before, I mean, you have one simulator.
Yeah.
So if you did want to come with a small group, it's not like you're going to be mingling around with a whole bunch of strangers. And you can.
Actually,
it's kind of a private space.
It's a great point. We've been busier than I thought we were going to be, and I think it is because our customers feel comfortable coming here. You get the whole space by yourself. This is a studio experience where we are only letting one group in at a time, and so it is the safest way to enjoy it.
So, but what you were saying earlier, this exciting new concept, which sounds a lot bigger, your kind of business plan, or at least how you conceptually are building it, has maybe been altered by the experience of the last 4 months of the pandemic.
It has. I mean, look, we all have seen how brick and mortar retail businesses have suffered during the pandemic, and we have seen how technology companies have thrived during the pandemic. I was talking to a friend yesterday who was like, I am an expert at Zoom now, he's like, I got Zoom down. And he had never used Zoom before the pandemic. And so
meanwhile, I'm over Zoom. I am zoomed out.
You're zoomed out, but you know what? Zoom is winning.
They are.
Zoom is an example of a business that is winning right now.
Sure.
And so all jokes aside, the question is, I'm all about how do you have a viable business? I mean, I do love golf. I do love the social impact side of our business. I do love making a difference. I can't do any of that if I don't have a long-term viable business.
Yeah.
And so the question is, how do I have people say I'm CitySwinged out,
right?
because I'm doing it so much, That's the goal.
Yeah. I also saw, I can't remember which of the other interviews I listened to that you talked about, but you just mentioned kind of the social impact side of your business. Yeah. But you mentioned that you do some work with the Georgetown University's women's golf team.
Oh yeah.
Tell me about that.
Yeah. So we, and this is with Craig Kirby and Golf My Future My Game.
Okay.
So Coach Kate, the head coach at
Episode 4 for those who are counting.
Episode 4, a great episode. Craig has been a tremendous partner to CitySwing. We do a lot together, and I love and treasure that relationship. But we, the three of us have come together, and we have an incredible mentorship program for primarily girls that are golfers in the area or interested in golf, and we pair mentors and mentees. It's called Birdies to Eagles.
Gotcha.
The girls from local high schools in the area, middle school and high school, are paired with a team member of the Georgetown women's golf team. And they'll come here. We've done several of them. They'll come here, they'll play, we'll have all of the teams, all of the mentor-mentees be a team, and they'll just play against each other. It's more of an opportunity for the younger girls to see what they can become. I like to say, you believe it when you see it, right? And it's just been a really, really rewarding program where some of our older girls have talked about how you get scholarships in golf and have talked about what it's like to go to Georgetown. We've done tours of Georgetown's campus with the girls. And some of our younger girls are just now growing up knowing that golf is a thing that girls do,
Right.
And so it's a really special program, one of several that we have at CitySwing, but that one is very, very fun.
Sort of on that topic, there was big news last year when Steph Curry came to town, went to Langston Golf Course to help announce. I think he made some financial contribution to Howard to bring back their golf team.
Yes.
Are they going to have a women's team? Is that part of the deal, or they don't?
I believe it is a men and a women's team.
They are.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
That's exciting.
Yep.
It'd be interesting to see, kind of the timing of that and where they're gonna play and all that.
Their coach, who I have not met yet, but I would like to meet, be another great conversation for you. He's got an incredible background. He was the head coach at Stanford, at I want to say University of Michigan, and there was another school between Michigan and I believe here at Howard that I'm forgetting. But really, I mean, was it Tennessee? No, I think he went to Tennessee.
Gotcha.
He played at Tennessee. But it just a lot of wins under his belt, really run some really good programs. So I'm so excited for that and for Howard and for DC, and it's just good on so many different levels.
Yeah, that's exciting. I'll get his name for you before I leave here.
Yeah.
So let's talk golf and the actual technology here for a minute. So first, so you are a golfer. Did I hear that on one of the other interviews that you're a member at Woodmore?
Yes.
You are.
Yes.
Excellent. That's where I sat down with Desiree Walker last week at Woodmore. You've been a member there for a while?
I've been a member there for, 5 or 6 years now.
Oh wow, interesting.
Yeah.
So you are an avid golfer. You're like.
I say I'm a passionate golfer.
Okay.
I say I'm a passionate golfer. It's funny, when you and Des were talking, I was laughing because I think you asked her the question about like how her game is, and she was telling you about how since she started the business she hasn't played as much, and
Sure.
that is certainly my experience, where I literally sometimes I think to myself and I'm like, Tari, if you just wanted to improve your golf game, you should have just bought a house and put a TrackMan in a room in the house. I think it may have been cheaper, and I think you probably would have improved your golf game more. But
That's funny.
But I love being a member at Woodmore. Woodmore's a special place because I feel like Woodmore's where I fell in love with golf. I learned, I first held a golf club many, many years ago, but I didn't start to play on a regular of enough basis to actually get better until I became a member at Woodmore, and it's a special place to me.
So you've been in the DC area for how long?
10 years. I came here in 2009 with Tesla.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. And then the actual technology itself. So you got TrackMan set up.
Yeah, I got TrackMan. TrackMan has been an incredible partner to CitySwing from day one, from the beginning. I joked, I think I was telling Abby this on the For the Ladies podcast, but my first experience in the golf industry was going to the PGA show down in Orlando. I had no idea what I was getting myself into, but knew that I needed to find my technology partner, and heard that every business that was related to golf was there at one time. So I don't know if you've ever been, but it is an overwhelming experience.
I've been a couple times, both for, working for other outfits. But yeah, it's overwhelming.
It's overwhelming.
It's enormous.
But-
It's just an enormous.
But if you want to start a golf business,
Yeah.
that's where you go,
Yeah.
because everybody is there, everything is there, and more. And so I went there. By the time I left there, I had the names and the numbers for every single golf simulator and a bunch of other things. And I went through I brought my academic side to picking a golf technology to work with. We did like an official RFP. I had all of the companies do this, I think most of them thought I was crazy, but I had them do this 14-page, a very consulting RFP to tell me what was special about their technology. And TrackMan just really kind of blew me away. I think their graphics are incredible. We know how credible they are amongst professional golfers.
Yeah.
The data and the analytics that you get from TrackMan are just second to none. And that was really important to me, Alex, because I'm not a great golfer, because I didn't grow up in the golf industry, I wanted to make sure that the technology lended credibility to the business. I've got the side of the business of how to make it fun, the music, the welcoming side, the retail side. I've got that side of it. I wanted to make sure we were respected by really avid golfers and serious golfers, and
Sure.
I found that TrackMan really has done that for us.
Yeah, they're the big boys. They're the Cadillac of the space, and it's a
they're
crowded
leaders.
space, right? I mean, there's
It's a crowded
yeah.
space. There's at least, I would say there's 6 really good ones, and then there's probably 10 to 12 just different companies that offer simulated golf.
I saw on your website you list, and maybe you can clarify, but there was it said listed TrackMan courses and then also E6.
Yeah.
Is that a different company? Is that part of TrackMan? What
It
is
is a
it?
different company.
Okay.
E6 is another company that has another set of courses. So because TrackMan does not have Pebble Beach, TrackMan has a number of really great courses. Murrayfield Village, actually,
Yeah.
which is very timely because it's where they're playing this week.
Yeah.
But they didn't have Pebble Beach, and I knew that was going to be the thing that would attract people. So E6 has a number of other courses, including Pebble Beach, and so we supplement. E6 also has some really fun non-golf games, target games, that help supplement the TrackMan software.
Do you have those analytics? Can you tell what course people play the most and that sort of thing?
I could. I don't. I can tell you.
It's not something that really affects the business. It's more, I'm just kind of.
Well, no, it does. It will. It helps us know how to advertise
Sure.
and how to speak to people. So,
Yeah, that's true.
no, it absolutely is a metric that's important. For us, it's St. Andrews on the TrackMan software. I will tell you, I covered the store this past weekend, and everybody wanted to play Murrayfield Village. So it is the courses that the pros are playing, or the more famous courses that people love and love to try.
Yeah. But before I let you go, I'm not trying to get you to give away anything here, but I think the most exciting part of this was hearing about your future plans.
Nice.
And so is your plans to keep it in D.C.
Yes.
or eventually you're going to take this, worldwide
Oh.
or nationwide?
Worldwide. I mean, look, I work for Elon and Kevin Plank. You don't learn to think small when you're around those two. So.
Sure.
No, nationwide, globally. I mean, we are here for all of that. But we will start in DC.
Yeah.
If there's one thing that hopefully you've probably taken away, I am business first.
Yeah.
And business doesn't happen overnight, even
Sure.
though it's all of a sudden you do hear about these big brands.
Yeah.
Topgolf didn't happen overnight. Nothing happens overnight.
Yep.
So we are taking measured steps to make sure that we are smart on the business side, and we will invest in the DC market first, and then we will grow from there.
I'm sure you're looking at a lot of different places. Any hints on where in D.C. possibly?
I think I would say it like this. We have been at City Center, and we have been at Mount Vernon Triangle. We've invested a lot of time and marketing in this area of DC, so we would like to stay in this area.
Fantastic. Well, this has been terrific. I really appreciate you having me here, and I'm excited to I've used it. I've been here before as a customer, but I think I'm going to get maybe more of a demo to share with listeners and viewers. But as we touched on, anybody listening, you can absolutely come here and not worry about big crowds. It's essentially a private space, which is awesome. I know, obviously, again, I encourage everyone to go listen to Eric Andrews Lang's podcast and the conversation with you. It was very interesting, just talking about everything going on in our country, around race. And but also, I know a lot of people are looking to find ways in different businesses, especially Black-owned businesses, to support. Yeah. And CitySwing is obviously, I think, a great one.
Yeah, we're excited to really give back to DC. So I like to tell a lot of people that we are a for-profit business, but we find ways to do social impact at every step of the way. And so when you come and spend an hour with us, we are thinking about how to take a portion of that to go reach underrepresented golfers, like Craig Kirby likes to say. And so we have a number of those types of initiatives, but we want you to come and have fun. We want you to come and work on your golf game. Right now, what we're seeing is avid golfers. I mean, the people that are playing a lot on the course because of COVID are coming in, they're taking lessons. We've got a great roster of instructors that come here and use the data and the analytics to really improve your game for when you're back out there. So
right.
We're open until 9 p.m. It's temperature controlled in here. So when you're not on the golf course, we want you to use this to enhance your game.
I love it. Website?
CitySwingDC.com.
CitySwingDC.com. All right. Well, this has been fantastic. I really appreciate you having me out and
Thank you so
coming on the
much.
show.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Thank you, Tari.
Which number that's coming up most often throughout your shots, that if you were to work on this and get better, you would see a better result. And so if I were to click start focus practice, what ends up happening is it gets rid of all those other numbers on the screen. So I don't know if you guys have ever taken a golf lesson before. If you have, a lot of times you're taking a golf lesson and he's got you working, or he or she has you working on one specific thing. They'll say, don't worry about what the shot's doing. Don't worry about everything else. Just worry about this one thing I'm talking about. This is literally simulating that exact thing through technology. So that's why it's called focus practice, because it gets rid of all the other numbers. You can't see how far your ball goes. You can't see your club head speed anymore, your ball speed. You can only see the one number that it's saying that you need to work on to achieve the results you're trying to get. So what's going to happen is, shot. So what's going to happen is going to tell you, kind of like a bandwidth type of deal. So it says my optimal face to path is negative 2.4 and then plus 2 degrees. So that's the plus or minus,
Yeah.
If you're within that range, it's considered good compared to what you were doing.
That's a nice feature because, in my experience using some of the simulators, sometimes you get overwhelmed with data.
Yeah.
You look up at the screen and there's, 45 different numbers.
Exactly.
And you're like, oh man.
And so imagine if you do know what all the numbers are, it's just having one number to focus on and work on one thing at a time is like super important, because if you're trying to change too many of the numbers at one time, it's just, paralysis by analysis, over-analysis. It's just, you'll kill your own swing just trying to do too much of one thing.
Focus on one thing.
But this is what I've found to be the biggest help, just because of the fact that it tells you what you need to work on, and it tells you whether each shot is good or bad or not. So you can just keep doing it as long as you want. Eventually, you will most definitely get better. And this is when the golf coach steps in and tells you how to achieve those numbers. Luckily for me, I'm a PGA pro, so I can do it for my own. But a lot of people, you need both ends of it, but you can do one of these.
And what I like is that it actually tells you a story behind your ball flight.
Yeah.
So you could always say like, oh, I hit a draw, but why do you hit a draw? Like, what are the mechanics that go into hitting a draw? This data tells you what it is. So you can go to a driving range and you can watch your ball fly, but not understand the numbers as to why your ball is flying that way, or why your swing is causing a right to left spin versus a left to right spin, and other things like that.
So Tari and I didn't talk about this, but DeMarcus, you just touched on it, mentioning that you're a PGA pro. You guys given many lessons in here?
Yeah, we had a lesson earlier today in here, so I didn't get that one. That was our guy Kendall from over at East Potomac. He works with us. He's great, one of the best instructors that I've ever met. It's a lot better than I am at teaching golf, but he's been doing it for a super long time. He used to be an engineer, and now He teaches golf. He's great for us, and so we've been doing a lot of lessons now, especially with COVID happening and the golf courses are open and everyone's working from home and really working from the golf course. And so they're at the course now and they see how bad their games are, and they're like, oh, we got to go get lessons. So we've been seeing a lot of lessons come through, even more than last year.
Yeah.
But yeah, so.
And so the added benefit of lessons here as well is not only do you get the TrackMan data, we create a TrackMan profile for you before you even start your lesson. So that way we can take all this data, instead of having to remember it and memorize it, we'll send it to you. So you know exactly which club you were hitting, which shot it was. We have video to go along with it. The video that you saw on the side-by-side earlier on the driving range, that gets sent to you through your profile or through email. And that way when you're on a course and you get a full practice session or full range session, you can say, how far was I hitting my 7-iron?
Yep.
And I can say, can I clear the water with my 3-wood? Well, based on my range session, I'm hitting it, 220. It's just a good way to know exactly what your distances are rather than guessing on a driving range where the distances aren't always the same.
Finished. Focus practice. Yep. Save that all, and what we do, we gotta hit a couple more shots. All right, I'm gonna hit 3 more.
Okay.
Like stuff. So there's 3 shots. So all of those shots and videos, we'll go over here, we'll click create report, and we'll do single shots. So those shots that I just hit, those 3 balls, will all say you wanted to hit a 7-iron driver, pitching wedge, all those clubs will pop up on here. We'll switch the clubs as you go along to make sure the data stays good. And when it's happening, you'll see it just like this. All those numbers are right there for you to see. There's also a different view. You can look at through your trajectory. You can look at it straight through the club data and show a real-time view from just the club head of what's happening at impact. And then you got all the videos with each shot that you hit. So if you want to see the first one, the second swing, the 60th swing, it's all still there from what you did when you were having your range session. And so
you can get all this data emailed to you, or you have a profile on the website you can go check out and see all your data.
As soon as they come in, we create their profile on here on the shot analysis on our system here, and it populates over to TrackMan. And what happens is we'll create this report at the end when they're done practicing, send it straight to their email. And what happens is they go through their email, they'll log in with the information they gave us. Boom, it's all right there. It saves, it updates as time goes on. The next time you come in, it builds on top of that data and starts creating a profile for you. And so it's really a new way to kind of improve your game and get better as time goes on. It's a new level of feedback. At first, it just used to be what you saw, what you felt, and what your coach said you did. Now you have numbers. Now you have something you can build on that's tangible that you can kind of target. And you can move the ball around and put it anywhere on the range you want. So if I want to hit out the bunker, I'll hit it out the bunker. If I want to go over here, if I want to take it back, move it over some, put the ball wherever I want, and then I can just go back to the front if I want to pick whichever number or distance I want to hit. So right now I'm going to hit it about 180. Hit the pin's back there on the left. Right, so then I'm sitting at 180. I'm like, okay, now I want to just try 170. And so what I do is I just switch the number on there. 170 shot.
So it moves the target to where you're trying to hit, at the distance that you're trying to
It'll
hit.
move
Perfect.
For you. You pick your number.
Yeah.
And it creates one for you. But you can also, so you can do it that way where it's all preset like that, but you can also, like you can pick a different position anywhere on the entire range that you want, and then you can go to any flag that you want from there. So if I wanted to go as far to the left side as I wanted, so say if I wanted to go with the ball over here, and then go at this pin back here over all the trees and whatnot, I can create a shot like I hooked my tee shot to another fairway and I got to practice getting back onto the hole that I was at. So you can literally create any shot you can think of, and that's probably my favorite part of this whole
Yeah.
trees.
That looks like a lot of my recovery shots. I'm always
Exactly.
trying to hit over trees.
Practice those recovery shots.
Yeah.
And so this is kind of one of the more fun things you can do, and you'll get some more, you know, like they say, targeted practice. So
Ca-
those are the two main practice things that we use for like just game improvement practice stuff.
Can you show us some? I'm sure a lot of folks, you know, I know my friends are always, you know, what courses can I play?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got a ton of them. So, TrackMan are great partners when it comes to this golf simulation thing. Like they've got it down pat, and they keep adding new courses probably once every month. Almost.
Yeah, at least
not
every
more
month.
than that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they keep
A
adding
few
more.
courses at a time.
Yeah, and they've got more to add.
Yep.
And they just keep giving us new ones. So we've got St. Andrews, you know, the home of golf is here. We've got a couple courses that TrackMan made themselves. So
Yeah.
they're artificial courses.
Really?
They're super hard. They're fun. But there's some, it's stuff that you'll never see in person. Like they've got a course that they put in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. They got a course that they put off like the coast of Mexico. And they just, in CitySwing, 8 feet and in is the gimme.
It'll just one putt.
Yeah, it'll one putt. No more of the inside the leather stuff. No. 8 feet and in is good. But outside of 8 feet, it's an algorithm that will either give you 1 putt, 2 putt, or 3 putt, depending on how far you are, how well you're playing. And they just added a new one based off the tour average. So they take the percentages from what the tour averages are from those ranges, and then it randomizes it from there based on how you're playing. So it is. But I feel like it's a little better, a little more accurate.
Yeah.
You don't get those like 3 putts from like 11 feet.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's good that way. And but you can turn the putting on, and we'll show you how the putting works. And it's not very bad at all. It used to be kind of harder.
Yeah.
But they made some pretty big advancements. The
Okay.
putting is pretty good. So we got the first hole of the Desert Hunch Club here. I think I'm first up. Yards. I can play up to the right.
Center cut.
There we go.
Keep it on the left side. Keep it play.
So it gives you all the stats right there: club path, club speed, attack angle.
Yeah, it'll give you some of the main ones. And if you pause the screen, which I'll do after Jason hits there, you pause it and you click one of those numbers, it brings up all the other ones that you can see.
The key thing for this is wherever the screen, the middle of the screen is always going to be your straight shot.
Yeah.
Down on the bottom right, there's this mini map. It's an overview or bird's eye view of the hole. The straight shot isn't necessarily always from your tee box to the flag. It's going to show you this little target right in the center, and wherever this target is in the fairway is going to be your straight shot on the screen. So, in order to hit a shot either to the right or to the left, if you know how to control your shot to do so, you can just do that regularly like you would on a standard golf course. Whichever way your ball flies is the way your ball is going to fly on the screen. But if you wanted to change the direction of where the screen is going to aim when you start, you can move the target on the mini map. As you can see, it changes the focal point of your shot. So for me, I don't want to hit towards the trees, obviously, so I want to hit down the center of the fairway. So all you need to do is adjust that. Now, actually hitting down the center probably won't happen, but we'll go for it. Yeah. That's not where you want to go. But,
That's in play.
but
You
it's in
can
play.
get up and down from there.
There we go. Of course, I get to go again. So for this one, it starts me out as the trees. DeMarcus, if you don't mind, could you pull me back toward like the middle of the fairway?
I will gladly hand you back to play.
We'll play the safe shot. Thank you.
170 straight to the end.
And I hit to the trees anyways.
Oh, nice
It's
shot.
a shortcut.
I think we'll be okay. We'll be okay.
Not the best shot, That's all right.
I think it's clear to see that this plays like a real golf course based
Yes.
on how we're
Yeah.
based on how we're hitting.
It
The
is-
graphics are incredible though.
Oh
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
Gameplay and the graphics is
It's pretty impressive.
He's out of there.
There we go.
Oh, got it close.
There it is.
There we go.
A shot for par.
I'll grab that one from you. Appreciate it.
Yep.
Thank you. So this is probably the area that most people struggle with when they first kind of come to CitySwing, is those shots inside of 50 yards, because in real life you never like pull out a rangefinder form. You don't go to the range and click, okay, that's 36 yards, and you start drilling those shots. It's kind of a visual thing.
Mm-hmm.
And here, the camera is set behind the ball, and just the angles of what the flag is at, the depth perception is a lot different. And so people often come in their first couple of chip shots, they're blasting it past the screen. So we gotta just tell everybody, like, play it very realistically to the yardage. Hit small shots, try to hit it a little higher with the screen. When it's soft. Oh, there we go.
Go in.
Get in.
Very nice.
I got a kid. Johnny Wags his ideas. I don't have a good golf game, but I don't really care. I'm a regular dude living in D.C. and I want to know about DC-centric golf stuff. If you can tell me something that I don't already know, then that is great for me. I don't want the regular stuff. I want exciting stuff. I want different stuff. I want stuff I can't hear elsewhere. But I want it to be about DC golf.